Homelessness in America is a wound that won't heal, a harsh truth in a country that prides itself on opportunity, yet leaves so many behind. According to HUD's 2025 report, more than 700,000 people sleep on the streets or in shelters each night, and that number keeps climbing. These aren't just statistics. They're real lives, dreams crushed by a broken system. How can a nation of plenty allow so many to suffer like this? In this video, we'll explore the top 5 reasons this crisis persists, starting with the devastating impact of mental health issues and addiction. Stay with us. This story demands our attention. Step onto the streets of any major American city, Los Angeles, Seattle, San Francisco, and the heartbreak is impossible to ignore. People huddled in doorways, eyes vacant, lives unraveling like frayed thread. SAMHSA reports that 25% of homeless Americans struggle with mental health disorders or substance abuse, often both caught in a relentless cycle of despair.
Being homeless, being here, honestly, it's very hard to be sober in this atmosphere. You know, I'm not used to being homeless, living in a tent.
These aren't just numbers, they're real people, trapped by invisible chains of addiction and untreated mental illness, abandoned by a system meant to protect them. How can we let this continue? America's mental health system is a crumbling relic, hollowed out since the 1982 when community centers were defunded, leaving millions without affordable care. For someone battling schizophrenia or bipolar disorder, stability is a distant dream, a maze with no exit.
I mean, I have bad anxiety and depression, so when I took, taking them and getting high, I don't feel any of that, any feeling of, any emotion, you don't feel nothing, it's just numb feeling and you're happy.
Addiction, from opioids, alcohol, methamphetamine, and now the deadly surge of fentanyl, turns that maze into a prison. Fentanyl, far stronger and more dangerous than heroin, has swept through cities like a silent storm, claiming thousands of lives and leaving devastation in its wake. In San Francisco, overdose deaths among the homeless rose 40% from 2019 to 2023, as pain was numbed by a drug that kills. Each hit deepens isolation, stealing jobs, homes, and hope. Yet instead of offering help, we criminalize their suffering. Police clear encampments, and jails become makeshift asylums without healing. Rehabilitation programs starve for funds, can't keep up, and stigma buries anyone who seeks help. How can we call ourselves compassionate while chaining the broken to their pain? The homeless aren't just seeking shelter. They're battling their own minds, their own demons, with fentanyl tightening its grip with every dose. Homelessness worsens mental illness, and addiction thrives in despair, creating a cycle that's almost impossible to break. This isn't just a policy failure, it's a moral collapse. We've turned our backs on those who need us most, leaving them to fight fentanyl and untreated trauma on concrete beds. In Seattle, tent cities are filled with lives derailed by addiction, each one a plea for help ignored. Until we rebuild mental health care, fully funded, accessible to all, and treat addiction as a disease, not a crime, homeless Americans will remain trapped. We need clinics, not handcuffs, recovery, not rejection. This crisis demands action, because every life lost on the streets is a wound we all share. If mental health and addiction are the spark, rising housing costs are the steady fuel that keeps the fire burning. Across the country, rents keep climbing while wages barely keep pace. Neighborhoods are changing not because communities are thriving, but because luxury buildings and high-end developments push working families out. City planning, step by step, has shifted to favor profit over people, leaving those who built these communities priced out of their own streets.
The rent is too high. It's even going up in even these rooming houses, and people are using drugs to escape. And the drug use is making you come out here more. You don't pay your rent. You're not working enough, and that's part of contributing to the problem.
Over time, the safety nets meant to protect families have weakened. Federal funding for housing has declined for decades, and programs like Section 8 are overwhelmed by demand. Wait lists stretch for years. Many families sign up and wait, but help often never comes. In states like California, rent can consume more than half of a worker's paycheck. One unexpected expense, a medical bill, a broken car, a missed shift, can push everything over the edge. What happens to a family when a single crisis can take away their home overnight? Stability that took years to build can vanish in an instant, leaving people with nowhere to turn. This problem runs deeper than numbers or policies. It forces us to confront what we value as a society. When did having a roof over your head become something only a few can afford? Housing has slowly shifted from a basic need to a competitive commodity. The market decides who gets to live with dignity and who must fight just to keep a place to sleep. Seniors on fixed incomes, returning veterans, single parents working long hours, they're all caught in a system that treats shelter like a prize instead of a right. As housing becomes an investment instead of a necessity, communities begin to fray. Parents face impossible choices: pay rent or buy food, keep a roof overhead or pay for medicine. Families cram into tiny spaces, bounce between couches, or end up in overcrowded shelters. This isn't because people stopped working hard, it's because the ladder they were climbing has quietly been pulled away. What does it say about us when profit, not people, decides who gets a home? When housing is treated like a commodity, the American dream drifts further out of reach. Unless we choose to put people before profit, the lack of affordable housing will keep pushing more lives to the edge, and homelessness in America will remain a painful reflection of our misplaced priorities. Across America, two very different worlds exist side by side. One dazzles with bright lights and towering glass buildings, full of success and comfort. The other lives in the shadows, where families struggle to make it through each day. Walk just a few blocks and you can feel the shift. It's subtle, but it's real. Economic inequality doesn't hit like a wave. It creeps in slowly, changing lives bit by bit, until one day everything is different.
My name's Gary, I'm 45 years old. Right now I'm in Tent City. Unfortunately, I'm a victim of the economy. I lost my job due to transportation.
For many, hard work no longer guarantees stability. It's like running on a treadmill. No matter how fast they go, they stay in the same place. They open cafes early, clean office floors late at night, care for others, stock shelves, but when they get home, they're left with almost nothing. At the top, wealth keeps piling up. At the bottom, people keep struggling to stay afloat, hoping for a break that may never come. In struggling neighborhoods, kids grow up with far fewer opportunities. Their schools have peeling paint and outdated books. Chances for a better future feel out of reach, living somewhere they can't touch. A child's destiny can be decided by their zip code before they even have a say. The doors to better jobs, safer housing, and brighter lives often stay closed. And when life delivers a setback, a medical bill, a job loss, a broken car, there's no soft landing. One unexpected hit can send everything spiraling. Bills pile up, rent goes unpaid, eviction notices appear, stability that once felt secure vanishes, leaving families on the edge with nowhere to turn. This divide isn't just about money. It's about the chances some people get and others don't. It's about dreams fading quietly while the world moves on. You can see it in every city. A warm, bustling cafe on one corner, a crowded shelter just down the street. Two worlds, side by side, barely touching. Economic inequality doesn't shout. It whispers. It hides in daily routines, in small struggles, in moments often overlooked. Yet its impact is everywhere. The homeless in America are part of this story. They are living proof of a gap that keeps widening. As night falls, the towers stay lit. But in the streets below, countless lives fade into darkness. This isn't just about wealth. It's about who gets a fair chance and who gets left behind. Imagine falling, trusting there's a net below to catch you, only to discover it's full of holes. That's the reality of America's social welfare system for far too many. Our web of housing aid, healthcare, and job assistance may look solid on paper, but in truth, it's a maze of red tape and underfunding that often fails the very people it's meant to protect. The homeless in America aren't just battling poverty, they're up against a system that seems almost built to let them slip through the cracks. Take Section 8, the federal housing program meant to help low-income families keep a roof overhead. In theory, it's a lifeline. In practice, it's a waiting game that can last years, sometimes decades, in cities like Los Angeles or Chicago. HUD data shows that only a small fraction of those who qualify ever get help. The rest are left waiting, stuck in limbo. And for someone already living on the edge, sleeping in a car, battling addiction, or trying to manage mental illness, navigating piles of paperwork and endless deadlines isn't just hard, it's nearly impossible. Many give up before they even start. Healthcare is another broken promise. Medicaid is supposed to be the safety valve, yet many states still refuse to expand it, leaving millions without access to care. The same goes for job training, food stamps, and unemployment benefits, each program strangled by budget cuts and restrictions. In 2023, only 20% of households eligible for temporary assistance for needy families actually received help. The rest were turned away by policies that value numbers over people. The result? Countless Americans who could be lifted up are instead left to fall further down, often onto the streets. What hurts even more is the lack of coordination. Federal, state, and local agencies often work in silos, while nonprofits struggle to fill the gaps with limited resources. In my own city, I've seen shelters turn people away, not out of cruelty, but because they're full, understaffed, or out of funds. How can we expect people to climb out of homelessness when the ladder itself is missing rungs? Our social welfare system isn't just inadequate, it's a betrayal of those it's supposed to serve. Until we properly fund and streamline these programs, making them accessible to everyone who needs them, the homeless in America will remain trapped in a cycle of despair. This isn't about charity, it's about justice. A society that lets people languish on the streets while boasting of its wealth has lost its way. We need a safety net that catches everyone, not just the lucky few who can navigate the red tape. More funding, better coordination, and a real commitment to treating people with dignity could turn the tide. As it stands, our welfare system is only a faint shadow of what it should be, leaving countless Americans to slip through its holes. Life is unpredictable, but in America, a single stroke of bad luck can push someone straight into homelessness. Economic crises and natural disasters are the fifth reason this crisis persists, acting like sudden storms that sweep away stability. Whether it's a recession wiping out jobs or a hurricane destroying homes, these events hit the most vulnerable hardest, and our society isn't built to catch them when they fall.
All of them out of it.
For the homeless in America, these crises aren't just setbacks, they're catastrophes.
He was just protecting his master.
Look at the numbers. The 2008 financial crisis left millions jobless, foreclosed on homes, and pushed families onto the streets. More recently, the COVID-19 pandemic revealed just how fragile stability can be. By 2020, unemployment spiked to 14.7%, and evictions surged as renters lost their livelihood. Even with temporary moratoriums, many never recovered. I remember a neighbor, a bartender, who lost his job when bars shut down. He couch surfed for months before landing in a shelter. His story isn't unique. It's part of a larger pattern. Economic shocks don't just disrupt lives, they destroy them. Natural disasters are even more ruthless. Hurricanes, wildfires, floods, they don't discriminate, but their impact lingers longest for those with the least. After Hurricane Katrina in 2005, tens of thousands in New Orleans lost their homes, and many never returned. FEMA aid and insurance payouts often fall short, especially for renters or low-income families who can't rebuild. In 2022 alone, the U.S. faced $18 billion disasters, from California wildfires to Gulf Coast storms, leaving trails of displacement in their wake. For someone already scraping by, a flooded apartment or burned out home can be the difference between stability and the streets. What's worse, our systems aren't designed to respond quickly. Disaster relief moves at a crawl, bogged down in bureaucracy, often prioritizing property owners over renters. Unemployment benefits, when available, run out too soon. And once someone falls into homelessness, climbing back up is an uphill battle. Why do we let red tape and delays turn temporary hardship into permanent despair? Without a strong safety net, whether it's rapid rehousing after a disaster or income support during a recession, these crises don't just bruise lives, they shatter them.
Time more people.
The ripple effects are staggering. A family displaced by a hurricane may never find affordable housing again. A worker laid off during a downturn can lose a car, then a job, then their home. These aren't rare cases, they're systemic failures. Until we build resilience through faster disaster recovery, universal income supports, and emergency housing programs, these shocks will continue feeding the cycle of homelessness. It's a stark reminder that in America, stability is often a privilege, not a guarantee. Conclusion. The homeless in America aren't a problem we can ignore or sweep under the rug. They are a mirror reflecting the gaps in our society, living proof of promises left unfulfilled. Behind every tent and every face on the street lies a web of struggles we've allowed to fester for decades. Mental health challenges, addiction, unaffordable housing, deep economic inequality, a fractured safety net, and sudden crises that push people over the edge. These forces are interconnected, feeding one another, creating a storm that traps thousands with no clear way out. Feeling pity isn't enough. Real change doesn't come from sympathy alone. It comes from courage and action. We need genuine investment in mental health care and addiction treatment. We need homes ordinary people can afford, not just luxury condos. We need fair wages that let families live with dignity. We need a welfare system that catches people when they fall, instead of letting them slip through the cracks. And we must be prepared for disasters, economic, environmental, or personal, before they create another wave of homelessness. This isn't just about passing policies, it's about recognizing the humanity in people pushed to society's edges. It's about insisting that dignity and stability are rights, not privileges. The homeless in America are part of our shared story. Ignoring them means ignoring ourselves. The question is simple yet urgent. Will we rise to meet this challenge, or let the wound deepen? The answer will shape not only the lives of those on the streets, but the very character of the nation we become.